Now is Sean Ding, co-founder and CEO of GRisk, a global risk analytics company. Want to get your first reaction to these new reports this evening of what President Xi is saying in his letter to President Trump. Also, Liu He saying that a consensus has been reached on the text. How significant is that?
Sure, Elaine, I think no one would argue that we're seeing some very positive signals coming out from today's talks, as well as from the past couple of months. But I think the most important one of all is that both President Xi and President Trump, are making it very clear that they want to see a deal. Now, President Trump made it even more clear that he expects to see a deal, in the coming 4 weeks' time. And President Xi wasn't that clear, but he did say that, we want to call for a rapid conclusion of the talks. And Vice Premier Liu He, as you pointed out, also said that, we have agreement on the text or consensus on the text. I think these are all very positive signals. But however, I think there are still a few sticking points that people don't know the details about. Now, are those sticking points included in the text, which Vice Premier Liu He said that there's consensus on? We don't know that yet. We'll have to wait and see.
So I'm speculating here, but do you think, from the tone of what these two presidents are saying, is this sort of encouragement to finish this up, let's get going, wrap it up, or is it more, this is what is left for these two presidents to work out at the end?
Well, I think, first of all, in any kind of negotiations, especially these sort of high-level negotiations, it's critical for the two presidents to make it clear, to make a point to their delegates, to their negotiators, that we want to get this done, and we want to get this done, sooner rather than later. So I think that attitude is really important. And secondly, I think, if you watch President Trump's press conference today, I think he would like to host President Xi at the White House in Washington, D.C. in a state visit. He didn't say that explicitly, but I think that's the point. That's the idea that was conveyed to the Chinese delegation. So my guess is that all the negotiations, the deal will actually be done prior to the actual visit, and the two presidents will have more of a ceremonial or a commemorative sort of meeting, and that really put the final seal on the agreement.
Speaking of that Oval Office meeting today, we saw a slight change. The Vice Premier sitting next to the U.S. President instead of across the desk. Mm-hmm. Quite a change.
Yeah, I think that a small change in protocol definitely shows, I think, more goodwill from the U.S. side in terms of respecting, what the Chinese side would like to see in terms of, Vice Premier Liu He sitting side by side with President Trump instead of across from him, and that also, I think, is protecting Vice Premier Liu He from answering some of the questions that President Trump might just throw at him, since he's sitting right across, from the table, from the table. So I think, that does show a lot of goodwill from the U.S. side. It's a positive signal.
What are you looking for to see here in the coming weeks? We saw the U.S. President put a timetable now. He, for a while it's been open-ended. He threw out this maybe in the next 4 weeks sort of time frame, mm-hmm. which is the first time we've really heard that. Mm-hmm. Do you think we'll see something in 4 weeks, or is this maybe the U.S. president just talking like he does sometimes?
Well, I think it's likely that we might see something in 4 weeks, because politically, I think President Trump needs to cement something, with these trade negotiations before everybody kicks into full gear for 2020, for the election year. So I think, having a quick win or a win with China is important. So I think, by maybe not in the exactly 4 weeks, but I think we do expect to see something coming out in the near future. On the Chinese side, I think it's also possible, because if you look at the 2 sessions that just wrapped up last month, the foreign investment law was passed in really, historic pace. It only took them 3 months to finish the entire legislation, which is unprecedented since the end of the Cultural Revolution. So I think there is a lot of goodwill in China as well to really implement some of the reform measures that the U.S. Has been asking for during the past year or so.
Sounds like sooner than later for both sides.
Hopefully.
Sean Ding, thank you so much. We appreciate it.